Hello all, today we're working on a Mazda CX-3. We're going to be taking out the airbag on the steering wheel. First thing we need to do is to disconnect the battery, or if you've got a keyless start vehicle, what you'll need to do is unlock the steering wheel by putting the key inside the car, turning the car on. I think it's the first position, so when the radio turns on, and then what you can do after that is turn off the vehicle and then take off the battery cable. Ideally you want to connect the positive and negative together so that you short out any of the internal systems when you're working on the airbag, but leaving this disconnected for at least a minute before you do any work is also acceptable. It's in the methods for this vehicle, so that's what we'll be doing today. And once you've got all that set up, then what we need to do is go to the inside. Now inside the vehicle we've got our steering wheel. If you want to set the steering wheel to the dead ahead position, and then the first thing we need to do is to take off this lower cowling. To do that, you've got a screw up in here and a screw up in here. We're going to undo that with our screwdriver. There we go. There's one, and there's the other one. And then what you want to do is you need to then start removing the top cowl piece. This is all just clipped on, so all you have to do is, ideally you don't want to put pressure on these, but you need to lever and unclip this like so. So we've started removing this now. We'll just undo the other side as well, like that. Should be nice and released. What you've got as well in here is around here there's a hook that goes into the lower part of the columns. So what we'll do to remove this all is to loosen the steering adjustment lock and then gently prising this column piece down like so. It'll pop off loose, and then you pull it forwards towards you, and there's that little hook I was telling you about. But yeah, once you've got it to this position, then we'll need to go underneath. Right, now we're underneath the vehicle, and if you get any marks like this, they'll usually rub off quite nicely. Plastic tends to not damage other plastics, but do be careful. Yeah, we're fine here today. Put the steering column lock back on if you haven't already, like I didn't. Now, in this little groove, you'll get a little hole, and you might be able to see it, but there's a little bar across there. Now, getting a flathead screwdriver about, I don't know, what was that, 5mm, if that, about that length, which is about 2-3 inches. What you then want to do, put it in like that and lever upwards. You'll feel a little judder as the airbag comes loose, and what you want to do is rotate the wheel about 50 to 60 degrees, basically until you've got this hole here. And then you do the same thing. It might take you a couple attempts, but there we go. That just popped loose at that one. And then we'll go the other direction, like so. Put the screwdriver in. It might take a couple of attempts now because there's a lot more pressure on this one. I think I just got that. No, I didn't. This one, the last one, can be a bit more tricky because it's... But there you go. Got it now. So now we go back to the front. Now at the front of the vehicle, just turn the wheel so it's straight, just makes it easier, and then you can just pull the airbag out. Flip it around so you can get to the back side. And now you've got the two airbag plugs, because this is a dual stage airbag. Only work on this when you've got the battery disconnected, and at least make sure that the battery's been disconnected for at least a minute, if not, you know, longer the better. What you want to do is get a little pick, and in these black centered, these black plugs, just lift them up like that. Then you go up a little bit. Once they're up, you can then just remove the plugs. You might find it a little difficult, and if you need to, just use a screwdriver and gently pry on this. You don't want to go too hard. And on this side too. Once they're off, they're good. And then you've got the horn wiring. This lever here, latch here, push it in, slide it off, and there you go. Airbag is now removed. Never want to hold the airbag so that the logo of the steering wheel is pointing towards you. If it goes off, it's better to go off like this and the airbag goes in front of you. What you want to then do with this is put this into a safe place, ideally a metal container, and away from any electrical or naked flames or anything that could potentially cause this to ignite. Once you've got it in a safe place, then you're free to work on the rest of the wheel. Right, to remove the rest of the steering wheel, what you'll need to do is push down these little latches on the connectors to remove them, like so, and then do the same on the other side, like so that you're electrically disconnected from the steering column. Now what you'll need on that nut, that's a 21mm nut, so I've got a 21mm socket here. Ideally you want to use a 6-point, but I've only got a 12-point socket. Right, once you've loosened it, don't take it all the way out. Leave it with a few threads in, so that way when you loosen it up, the whole steering wheel doesn't come off and hit you in the face. And then once it's loose, you can remove the bolt. You'll see there that this has got a hex centering. That just means that there's no spline, so you can't get the steering wheel slightly off. They'll only go in of one of 6 positions. You always want to leave the steering wheel straight ahead, well, with the wheels straight ahead, so that you know which way the wheel goes back on. Being that this is similar to the Ford designs, you don't need to worry too much about getting the splines correct. And you can even see there's a little centering notch at the top. As for the slip ring, keep that centered. When you take this off, tape it up so that you know it's centered. That way you don't have to worry about it. You can put it on, and with the wheels dead ahead, you can put the steering wheel straight on, dead ahead, and it's all good. Also, you can see here, when you've got a yellow mark, that tells you when the slip ring's centered. So if you don't see that yellow mark and your wheels are centered and your steering wheel centered, your slip ring's not centered. Like this, so that I've got loads of layers around it, it will not move, and I've got the yellow tag showing, so I know that this is centered. Anyway, hope that helps you with your repairs, and thank you very much for watching.